It's the last chance for a club side to topple the 94 Aussies, and there couldn't be a bigger stage. Welcome to Odsal. It's Bradford Northern against Australia, and Northern have their own stars with a point to prove. Derek Fox, the playmaker, always alive for the alternative option. A Great Britain international, but ignored so far by Ellery Hanley in this Test series. And Paul Newlove, back from injury, bursting to show Hanley he's ready to play from the start at Old Trafford, a week today.
You've got to stop them playing, but you've still got to have a go at beating them or scoring points against them. You don't just put up a defensive wall and think that will do it, because if you do that, one thing's certain, you're going to get beaten. So you've got to have a go at scoring points.
The statistics suggest these Aussies could be the best ever. 375 points on tour 12 years ago, 423 4 years later, 452 in 86, and last time 347. On this tour, they've notched up 418 with 3 games still to go. Rod Wishart is responsible for 110 of those on his own. 4th out of 4 wing choices before the first test. His tries and, above all, his goals have forced the management's hand. He became the man they couldn't leave out. Also in line for star of the tour, Brett Mullins, sound at fullback, elusive going forward. The #1 jersey could be his for years to come. But his and the Aussies' next challenge is right here.
The boys have got a big one today, I think, but I'm sure we can win it. But I mean, it's been a tough tour, and for someone like yourself playing, I mean, it's been a good entertainment, and it's just good fun.
It's miserable weather greeting the two teams. The action, though, should make us forget all about the conditions. In the commentary box alongside John Helm this afternoon is the Great Britain ringer, Martin Afire.
Thank you very much, Nick. Yes, delighted to have Martin alongside me. But a grey and a grisly day, and for Bradford Northern, some late problems. We have a look at their side, and Peter Fox has had to make 2 changes at the very last minute. David Watson, the inspirational fullback, has flu, and Carl Fairbank, the Great Britain forward, has a detached retina and has gone into hospital for an operation. So that means a first start for Jason Clegg. It's his debut against Australia, 23 years of age, a Barla tourist, and what a team to make your debut against the Australian touring side. Let's have a look at this Australian lineup then, which is virtually the Test side, the one we would expect to be on duty at Ellen Road, apart maybe from at number 11, where Jason Smith has been given an opportunity to stake a claim for a place. He is in there, and neither Sirenen nor Harrigan is on the bench today. David Fairley, a late introduction, on the bench for Harrigan. Referee today, Stuart Cummings from Widnes. And Martin, this your last opportunity to have a look at the Australians before the deciding test next week.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the Test side. Probably, I think it's Smith in the second row, maybe the only person who's probably to lose out. I think the backs are pretty much at full strength.
Well, there they are, this formidable side. Peter Fox knows all about them. He's seen several of their matches on this tour. So the game is underway from the boot of Rod Wishart. Bradford in their distinctive white shirts with the red and yellow band. And here's a friend of Martin Afire's, David Myers, big pal of yours, Martin.
Yeah, I played with David a few times at Wigan just before he went to Widnes.
There's Roger Simpson starting again for the first time since the opening day of the season. They've got some height in the pack of Bradford Northern with the likes of Adam Greenwood and of course Roy Powell. But they'll definitely miss Carl Fairbank today. Clegg involved for the first time. Derek Fox, with his ability to kick, will be a key figure for Bradford Northern today. But this one picked up by that man, Brett Mullins, that we featured in our opening. What a wonderful tour he's had. 6 tries, including 2 at Old Trafford. This is Steve Renault. Holland straight away. And the pattern in most of the club matches has been that the home sides have done well for the first 15 or 20 minutes. And once the Aussies have put their foot on the accelerator, they have stormed away to success. Talking about height in the pack, what about Glenn Lazarus? Jason Smith, Bradley Clyde, all huge figures in that Australian six-pack. The kick is from Ricky Stewart. It's not going to be an easy one for anybody to take this, and it spins away from Roger Simpson, picks it up now. Another elusive runner, Simpson, keen to put on a show today. And gets his opportunity in the absence of Watson, the Kiwi international. Summers acting half-back, and he's a burly lad, Clegg. There's loose forward Paul Medley. He can play literally anywhere in the pack. He's been used as hooker even this season, and he's played on the wing. Fox once again, a key figure. Summers, here's David Frace. And trying to step out of the tackle, Carl Hall. Another of the New Zealand contingent here out to Odsal, and tries to kick the other way. Safely handled by Andrew Ettingshausen, who's got happy memories of this ground. He scored a few spectacular tries for Leeds in his days at Headingley. There's Jason Smith, and Mr. Cummings blowing the whistle for the first time for a penalty to the Kangaroos for the challenge, which he saw as an illegal one.
Yeah, I think obviously the Bradford players are pretty fired up, and I think David was just a bit overzealous there.
Five tackles gone through again, so watch for Stewart's kick. As soon as you say that, he passes the long ball, and it's inside for Renouf here. And Steve Renouf throws it back, keeping the move going. That's what people love about these Australians. They do keep the ball alive. And Ricky Stewart whips it out again here. And there might be a scoring opportunity now as Bradley Clyde is hot foot for the line, and he might make it. No, the ball is knocked down in the challenge, and the Bradford line holds firm again.
Bradford quite fortunate to hold out there, but they did scramble very well. Ricky Stewart kept the ball alive, and Australia showed that they're very dangerous in the last tackle.
Clegg is certainly not awe-inspired by this match, Jason Clegg. Fox, I think he's kicked just about every time he's been in possession so far.
I think so. I think Bradford just keep hanging in, and hoping, that they'll get a break. If they score a try, that will really put Australia under pressure.
Lovely inside ball for Ettingshausen. Well held by Russell, the hooker. Now Renouf from Fittler. Out of pay, and Bradford set themselves a target at the beginning of this season to restrict every opponent to less than 10 points. And it was working out well until they ran into the likes of St Helens here, who got to over 50. But prior to that, the defence had been good. But taking on the Australians is something else. And here it's Bradley Clyde again close. Australians having a monopoly of possession at the moment, and yet they've not yet scored. Renouf. Oh, lovely inside ball, and Daly, and he's going to bring his man on, and he's still held up in the tackle as Jason Smith. Superb defence from Bradford Northern there, but Renouf might be in, and he is there. He wriggles his way in, and that is power, pure power from Steve Renouf, who gets him over for the Aussies' first score.
It's just a case of tighter possession. Bradford, tried to hold out, but eventually, if you give Australia that much ball, they're going to score sooner or later. They don't have to do anything particularly special. I'm not sure what tackle it was on, but they just kept the ball alive, and they knew that they would score eventually. Bradford at the end just ran out of men. Renouf showing great strength to get in there.
Yeah, he certainly knows where the try line is. Scored in the World Cup final at Wembley, scored at Wembley again this year, and scored at Old Trafford. Now it's Wishart with this superb record on tour. 110 points to his name. good position for a kicker, just looks to curl it around and curl it through, and that's exactly what he does. The first points of the day for Rod Wishart, and Australia lead Bradford Northern 6-0. There he is, Peter Fox. Never short of a word, is he? Wishart. Well, the pitch will dig up a little as the game proceeds. Fittler's inside passes to Meninga. There goes Bradley Clyde. He's such a forceful runner, hard man to stop, and he's obviously keen to put on a show before the last test, as the rest of the side. Oh, brilliant piece of work from Daly, and he'll kick on past Simpson, but can he follow it up by collecting for a try? Answer no. Fallen on by Summers, by Hall rather, and now Simpson.
There's a nice bit of individual form there by Laurie Daly. Fortunately, you know, Bradford managed to clean it up, and let's hope they can get back down the Australian side of the field.
They need one of those long Paul Mueller runs.
Oh, don't they ever?
Fox, here he is. Newlove whips the ball out. It wasn't an easy one for David Myers to take. And straight away, there is Andrew Ettingshausen to make sure he doesn't get anywhere. McDermott. Fox. And Peter Fox has always insisted that it's the kicking game that you can beat Australia with. That's a good kick. It's pinned Australia back, even though Mullins can run it out. Takes play back inside the Australian half, which is where Bradford want to keep them.
Very much so. A lot of the time, I think the last set of 6 Bradford had, they did quite well, because they actually managed to trap Australia in their own half. I think that's what they need to do.
Stewart. Lazarus. This 18-stone powerhouse of a forward, and now Rod Wishart is bobbed up in the middle of the field. Can't break Simpson's tackle. Excellent full-back play by Roger Simpson, but still there is a threat to the Bradford line as the ball is moved along, and the referee said that was all right, keep going, and Bradley Clyde does keep going. Now again, Australia encamped around the Bradford 25. 5 tackles have been gone through. Now what will Ricky Stewart choose this time? It's the cross-field kick and a little push and a penalty to Bradford. That you can't get away with.
Oh no, it's unfortunate really for Australia, but quite fortunate for Bradford, I think, that the post was in the way. And I think Mullins didn't really know what to do there. He just tried to move one of the players out of the way to reach the ball.
Roy Powell smacked his head. Takes more than that to get rid of Roy Powell.
Yeah, he's an old wily campaigner. He's been around the league for quite a few years as well.
So Bradford definitely in need of some inspiration. One thing scoring 27 points on average against English club sides, it's another to even get on the scoreboard against these tourist sides.
Oh, without a doubt, you know, Australian football, even at club levels, renowned for its defence, and these are the best players in Australia, so obviously trying to score against them is going to be very difficult indeed.
Good stuff again from Clegg. Back to Australia, just looking there at Adam Greenwood receiving treatment. Australia nilled Warrington in midweek, and they only conceded 2 points at Sheffield. And in fact, throughout the entire tour, they've conceded only 94 points, while scoring 418. Mullins in possession. Good play from him, brilliant stuff from Mullins. He used his man as a decoy, and through the middle he goes, whips the ball away, and Laurie Daly up the middle. Surely they're not going to catch him, and instead he's given the scoring opportunity here to Jason Smith. Australia's second try, a lot of it down to the brilliant running of Brett Mullins.
Oh, without a doubt. People think that sometimes it's all about field position, but you have to really keep an eye on someone like Brett Mullins, because he can really burn you from deep in his own half. There was a lot of ball handling, interchanging, but it all started from Brett Mullins. It was great play. Once the field was open, I don't know where the fullback was, but it was a case of you know, a few hands. Maybe even Laurie could have went in on his own, but he unselfishly gave it to, I think it was Jason Smith, who went in for an easy 4-pointer.
It's a great boost for Smith as well. Here he's such a graceful runner, is Mullins, supporting Laurie Daly, who's had a good afternoon. This is a great boost for Smith, though, to score in the week building up to the test.
Very much so. With a coach on the bench, you know, who knows, he could get a shot.
Wide of the left upright, no question of that one ever going through. Well, he's human.
Yeah, he's done very well. I think after the first game when Wendell Saylor scored the 2 tries, I think it's probably the 4th winger in line. But he's, as you say, with his try scoring and his goal kicking, I think he's you know, pushed himself up there. As we can see again, this try, it's all a support play at the end. Mullins, you know, he was the initial person who made the break, but once they had the opportunity, support play did it all.
Fittler gets it away for Renouf. That was a pass on the blind side. So Walters for Stewart. For Pay. Walters alert, and Bradford have to be alert as well here now. 5 tackles gone. So is this one for Stewart to kick? No. A pass to Daly. Daly has a little chip through. Carl Hall takes it without trouble and feeds Roger Simpson. Oh, he loses the ball to Daly, but a penalty awarded to Bradford Northern. I don't think Laurie Daly's too sure about that.
No, I think it was definitely a case of stealing the ball. A lot of times I've seen referees, you know, just claim that the ball's been lost in a tackle. One of those that could have gone either way.
Certainly worth looking at.
Definitely a case of stealing the ball.
Fox. Now Wishart. This turn to run it out, as Mullins has done on a number of occasions already. Peter Fox, Martin, is very much of the belief, by the way, that it should be Yorkshire and Cumbria and Lancashire and representative sides who play the touring side rather than club teams.
Well, I mean, everyone has different views on it. I think rugby league in Britain, I think the spectators love to see the clubs playing, you know, especially in Lancashire. You know, they've been beaten so many times in the War of the Roses. I think they prefer to go watch their own clubs play.
Wigan, in fact, Martin's side scored more tries against these Aussies than any other club side so far on this tour. They got 4. Unfortunately for them, Australia got 5, I think it was on the day. It held up there. The referee says there was a knock on. Simpson. Well, an Australian put into this scrum spells danger again to Bradford Northern. Inevitably the ball will come out on the Kangaroo side, and it will be whipped across to Renouf straight away. Still gets it out in that tackle to Daly. Then it's Fittler. Smith. Five minutes left in the half. Australia have scored just 2 tries. Ricky Stewart there. He's one of the few Australians on this tour who hasn't got one as yet. Here's Dean Pay. He's had a couple. Stewart, in fact, the only backer in the touring squad not to have scored. Fittler. Inside of him was Meninga. So again, Bradford holding firm. And the green and golds continue to storm forward, and here's going to be a score for Bradley Clyde. No stopping him, not from that sort of range. The 3rd Kangaroos try, and they deserve it.
Oh, very much so. It's quite unfortunate, really. I thought with 5 minutes to go, if Bradford could have kept the score, you know, as it is, I think they would have been quite happy at half-time, because all they need is a try, and, you know, they'll be back in it. But, again, it's the weight of pressure. I think it all stemmed from the mistake by Simpson, giving Australia a field position, and there he goes. You can see the move in a bit more closer detail. As I say, it all stemmed from the drop ball by Simpson. It was unfortunate, really. But, you know, you can't make mistakes like that against Australia.
Wishart's hoping for more success than he had with his last conversion attempt. Not a dissimilar position. And not a dissimilar result either, except it's gone the other side of the uprights this time. He's left his favourite kicking boots back in the hotel.
Yeah, I think he probably left them in the hotel after Old Trafford.
Bobby Fulton must be pleased with the scoreline, however, 14-0, but it's not often I see him stalking up and down like that, which suggests that maybe he's not as pleased as we'd suspect.
Well, I don't think he is really. Bradford have been playing, you know, quite well. It's just that they've had a bad field position, which has enabled Australia to score.
Lazarus. He lost his club place towards the end of last season. Here's Malvin Ingram, a fantastic total of 250 points from his 4 tours and a World Cup appearance over here. Look at this for a storming run, and look at that for a brave tackle as well by Simpson on Clyde. Dean Pay, well, a 4th try now would be a stunning blow to Bradford, but Walters has found some space, and they're going to get one. Here's Ettingshausen, there's no stopping him. 4 tries for Australia. Ettingshausen goes on to 11, and Cronulla's record try scorer from last season gets his 11th of the tour. He's the top man.
It's quite unfortunate, really. I think it's the part of the game that Bradford spectators didn't really want to. You know, the time when the floodgates open. Let's hope it isn't. Again, I think it was a great break by Australia. Great slip of a ball. Loads of Australian players. Great support play in the end. But as I say, Bradford have defended, you know, very, very well, but at the end of the day, you know, Australia's strength and power and speed seems to be showing.
So Wishart has a chance to take Australia onto 20 points with just 40 seconds of the half remaining. A towering kick, but again, the touch judges keep their flags down. So, proportionately, it's been one of the poorer days for Wishart, but not for Australia. 18-0 they lead, thanks to 4 tries and 1 goal. Classic try.
Oh, again, Australia find, you know, Ettinghausen, really, it's a walking for him, but all the work was done prior to that.
So we are in time added on for injuries in the first half. And, haven't been many. There was just one stoppage for Roy Powell to receive treatment. And indeed, there goes the hooter to signal the first 40 minutes are up here at Oxford Stadium. A very good half for Australia. Renouf, Smith, Clyde and Ettingshausen have all scored tries. Wishart's kicked 1 goal. But the half-time score is Bradford Northern 0, Australia 18.
A great deal more rugby.
Welcome back to the latest episode on the John Smith Tour. The Kangaroos leading Bradford Northern by 18 points to 0. Let's go straight down to the touchline and Nick Powell.
Peter, your assessment of the Northern performance in the first half?
Well, we knew we had to tackle, but once they make breaks to get what I call dead men onto the end of the ball, they're offside positions, but the man makes a break and he picks up these dead men and they run over you. Our tackling, we just missed 1 or 2 in critical positions, but we've played against the elements. That was decided before the match because we now need the element to help us. They're still big and strong. We've got 1 or 2 injuries. They're bringing internationals on the field. We're struggling a bit, but it's the commitment the lads have got to keep at it. It's the biggest day in their lives. Just keep at it. They're playing against the greatest side in the business. It's going to be a great day for them, and it's a great day to see the Australians in Bradford anyway.
Thank you, Peter.
Yes, thank you, Peter. A great day indeed, and it's always one of the matches, one of the occasions of the season. So that Bradford have also brought on David Heron, their veteran forward, involved in that tackle there for Leeds player. So Australia keen to run in early points in the second half, I would think, to get the show on the road again. Stewart, this is a dangerous angle kick. Simpson again going for the catch. Oh, what a good catch as well, and away he goes, and he's got the whole field to run in. Roger Simpson, terrific work. Fittler's coming across to meet him, and Roger Simpson taken out, but the crowd didn't like it. The referee saw nothing wrong with it. But that's the first long-range run from a Bradford player we've seen in the entire match.
Yeah, definitely something that was needed by Bradford to lift them. Roger Simpson had a very good first half. Unfortunately, he made a mistake, led to the try, but he's come out firing.
That was the old Leeds connection, Heron to Powell. Hancock is on in the second half for Steve Renouf, and Ettingshausen has gone into the centre with Hancock on the wing. Let's have a look at Bradford Northern's latest attack, and here goes David Heron. Good ball handler. Unfortunately, it was spilled by Summers. Fairly on for Australia in the second half. It's Dean Pay who's stayed in the dressing room. And there's Fairley. He's a huge figure of a man. Brought in at the 11th hour on the bench in place of Paul Harrigan. They've lost nothing there in terms of size. Forward pass given. Well, the referee did hear the crowd on that occasion.
Yeah, he's a bit of a crowd favourite now. I think it was just a little knock-on, but a knock-on nevertheless.
There's the possession, with Australia enjoying 60 to 40, and they've made one more handling error, but very good really. The scrum's 3 to 1, and there's 7 line breaks against the 1 by Bradford. There goes Bradford's Newlove though, and he can break a line. Fox, Medley. Bradford have come out firing well in this second half with those breaks from Simpson and then Newlove. That's what the crowd wanted to see. Clegg now. Fox for Heron. And this looks a speedier movement than Bradford put together in the whole of the first half.
Yes, Peter Fox did say that Bradford do have the elements with them, and let's hope, you know, that can push them on and spur them on to score a try.
Frace, and he kicks on, and David Frace, it might go into touch first. The referee said play on, and David Frace, the Frenchman, did exactly that. And well, the Frenchman there enjoying his afternoon's rugby league. He didn't enjoy the last time he played against Australia. They scored 50 points against France.
Yeah, hopefully they won't get that many today though.
That's where the ref said play on, and he did just that. He did the right thing. And Bradford heel from the scrum. Fox across the line. Simpson's up there, jinking his way through. Roger Simpson, 10 yards out. What a great start he's had to the second half. Heron acting half back now. Bradford queuing up, looking to get their first points of the afternoon. Medley can't switch it. That's what he was looking to do. Roy Powell, oh dear, it's gone to ground, and it must be an Australian ball, or it's a knock-on, so it's going to be a scrum.
Quite unfortunate there for Roy. Bradford in a great position attacking-wise, and unfortunately Roy dropped the ball. It's a mistake that Bradford can't really afford.
And Australia will have it from the scrum, as you would have expected. There goes Hancock for the first time, and they're forcing him back. Well, they used to call them the steamed pigs here at Bradford Northern, and 3 of them up there to hold Hancock. Bradley Clyde there, one of the first half scorers. Walters. And Meninga. Big thrust from the big man. Fittler. He's man of the match in the second test.
Yeah, he had a great game that day, and he's carrying it on today. Australia making a lot of yards on the way to get inside the Bradford quarter.
And it's taken now by Bradley Clyde, and on the touchline away goes Hancock. Gets it away, but Bradford might fall on this. And in any case, the referee blow a blast on the whistle, a handover, and play continues. And it's swift and incisive. Been a very good opening 5 minutes to the second half, Martin.
Very much so. It could have went 2 ways to Bradford. They could either went down, or they could make a fight of it. It looks like they're making a fight of it.
And they're going to bring on another substitute in a moment as well. Jason Donoghue, former Lee and Leeds player. One for Russell. He's just being carried off now, Russell. Right beneath us here. And, I don't think we'll see Russell again in this match. He's very groggy. He's hurt the left knee. Bradford continue to carry the fight to Australia through this man, Roger Simpson. He's the assistant groundsman here at Odsal. Donoghue with his first contribution, kicks, an angled kick as well. Hancock's going to have to do something with that. He seemed to hesitate momentarily. And he's forced out, and the crowd love that. Straight having a mud bath. It was a bit cleaner in the first half.
Great play from Bradford Northern. I think Michael Hancock picked up the kick late. I think he assumed like swing as it was going to go into touch, but unfortunately for him and Australia it didn't. And Bradford have another opportunity to mount some pressure and hopefully get a score.
That would be terrific for them. They didn't score the last time the Aussies were here 8 years ago, and the ball lost again, and surely it's going to go dead. The kick out from under the sticks. Showing a bit more invention in this half.
They've shown a lot more invention, but twice now they've given the ball up in early sets of the 6 tackles in Australia's quarter of the field. Something that you can't do. You're not going to score if you don't hold the ball, especially when you're near the opponent's try line.
Bradford are trying to do things a little bit differently. Now it's picked up by Neil Summers, the former Headingley Rugby Union man. Oh dear, dear, dear. And there again, that's just what Martin Afire was talking about, an unenforced error.
Unforced errors are costly, they hurt sides, and especially when you're playing a side, like Australia, the best side in the world champions, you can't afford to make errors like that.
Australia's ball. Laurie Daly, who had a good first half. Stewart. Inside for Fairley. Mullins, how's he found a gap there? Well, he did in a penalty given to Australia, which means they'll have 6 more tackles from here because they will undoubtedly run it. It's against Clegg. This young man, but he's had a hard-working debut.
Yeah, he's only a young man, hasn't played too many games in the big league. He's played very well. Unfortunately, he went just a little bit too high there on Mullins, gave the penalty away.
So Australia find a touch. And Bradford Northern supporters have a right to be worried again at this moment. Australia 10 yards out. The ball's in the hands of Glenn Lazarus, who takes the whole pack with him. Supported at the last minute by Walters. And they're queuing up, and they're squeezing Hancock over. Hancock gets the first score of the half, and that was a crafty one. The ball was expected to be switched to the left. Instead, there was just the one man on the blind side. Hancock was good enough and in the right place to be there.
I think that's what's affectionately known as the sucker punch. The entire Bradford team were looking for the ball to go out wide to the right-hand side, and Michael Hancock just took an easy pass and strolled in at the corner. So many Bradford players in the frame, but the winger just goes in at the corner.
Shot then, looking to kick his second goal of the day. That's a fabulous kick. That really deserves an ovation. Super kick, probably the best of the tour from Wishart. Again, it went out of the hands, straight into Bradford hands, and that's enabled them to peg themselves a little bit closer to that Australian line. See where Fox looks to open them up. Aided by Summers, back inside is Fox again, tries to weave a way through there, tries to tunnel his way down under. Greenwood. Last tackle though. So can Bradford contrive a score to bring the house down? Fox, it's a little kick through, and there might be one for David Myers. He didn't quite make it. Unlucky for Myers.
Very unlucky. The goals here are very small. At another pitch, it could have been a try. An astute kick from Fox, but just too long.
Oh, a coffee breakdown on the touchline. Well, I take it it's coffee. They might be fooling us. Fox. There's the kick for Mullins to chase back. It won't go dead, so once again he has to run it out. Gets past the first tackle, past the second. Still he's going. Mullins, this is where he's absolutely fabulous. And he's going through the middle all by himself, and still he's going and has made it from behind his own line to over the halfway line.
There's only one word for a piece of play like that, and that's class.
He's a thoroughbred, isn't he? I think Brett Mullins has probably been the star of the tour in many ways.
Yeah, he had some competition from Wendell Saylor at the beginning, but I think without a doubt he's got to be the class player, the form player, the player of the tour.
Hancock Stewart. Some of the range of passing is fabulous, and there Bradley Clyde with the switch. Fittler. Good ball again from him. Here goes Malmaninga. Outside of him, Hancock, and Hancock trying to cut in and find a way through to the Bradford try line. They've got there once in this half. Last tackle though. So again, watch out for the long Ricky Stewart pass. There it goes. A real bomb it was too, and there might be 3 against 2 here. And if it gets out to the wing, it's a score inevitably. Wishart's in. His first of the match. But exemplary passing along the line, beginning with that pass from Ricky Stewart. He really does fire a huge pass.
Ricky Stewart, ex-Rugby Union scrum half, got a tremendous pass, followed up by Daly, Canberra Raiders teammate, to another Canberra Raider, out there. Another try in the corner.
From the Illawarra Steeler in the end.
They managed to miss out so many Bradford Northern players with the pass. Looks like the Bradford Northern players were marking up the pass. Simple finish for the winger.
Good looking kick, very good looking kick. He's not quite made it, but an excellent try from Rod Wishart. Bit of a grin on his face. 28-0 the score. There he is, Alan Langer. He's lost his place in the test side after the first game at Wembley. But he's a cheerful, bubbly character, and he'll be determined to win it back. Daly, good take from him. He just rushed straight at the Bradford defence. Gets inside the 25. So 5 tackles from here. Bradley Clyde. Seems to want to do it all by himself there. Walters, and then Stewart. Fittler. Still 3 tackles to go. And Stewart again switches the play craftily. And, well, this looks as though it's almost certain to be another score any second now for Australia.
It's all starting to look pretty ominous.
You just sense it somehow, don't you? Take an Einstein to work out that Australia might get another score any second. Stewart. Could have held them. Daly, crafty kick through. Oh, and the ball bounces off the upright. And it is an Australian score, but in the most curious fashion. Well, what an odd try that one is.
Well, we expected a score, but we didn't expect it to come like that. It shows with a kick anything can happen.
Well, David Fairley's got the one. His third and his first one since the game against Cumbria, but in most unexpected fashion.
Post again, comes into play, a knock on by Fox.
And here's Wishart for a certain 2 points. The Australian score just goes on and on and on. And 34 points now today. And that means it's 452 on the tour. They've passed the 450 mark. Daly. Does he get past people? Well, he's created some space for Hancock. This time they don't run him out. Mullins acting halfback. Oh, the burst up the middle from Fairley. It just clung onto his big toe, literally. Langer. 5 minutes to go, and I think Bradford will be delighted to hear that final whistle. As Australia pour forward again with this man, Laurie Daly. Maybe one final score for them. 7 tries scored. They look for an 8th. Fairley. Fittler. Mullins. If they let Mullins go 15, 20 yards out, they won't see him for dust. Walters works the blind side. The kick through is picked up. Good score. Very good score by Jason Smith, who's done his cause no harm at all. 2 tries for him today at Odsal. Jason Smith from Canterbury Bankstown.
Nice bit of individual play there. This try was coming for quite a long time. Australia hadn't scored for a few minutes. They got back into the Bradford half, put a few tackles together, and a little bit of individual brilliance. and they score in the corner. Did very well to keep low in order to not just bend down and pick the ball up. Great try.
It was 38-0 here 8 years ago. It's 38-0 again at the moment. So if this goes through, Australia will beat that particular target. Great try, wonderful kick again from Wishart. Superb, and it's 40-0, and they've outstripped that score from 8 years ago. And what's more, this Australian touring side has now scored more points than any of the last 5 teams to come here. There's nothing you can do about it down there. So he's staying on here at Odsal for another 3 years. Clyde's had a big game in the second row. They've all had big games for Australia today. Bradford Northern soundly beaten, 40 points to 0. Has a bit of a ring about it, really. And it was very even. 4 tries in the first half, 4 tries in the second half. Simple as that for the 94 Kangaroos, whose show just goes on and on and on. They've enjoyed it. They'd have enjoyed it more if Bradford had got a point or two. But 40 points to 0. Renouf in the early stages got the first try. Bradley Clyde got one. Jason Smith had a couple of tries today. Hancock, Wishart, Fairley all scored as well. And for Derek Fox, another sobering afternoon in many ways. It's the first time he's ever played for a club team against Australia. It was the first time he's ever played against Ricky Stewart, apparently, as well. And I think we all know who's come off best today. It's Australia. Nick Powell is down on the touchline.
And with me, Brett Mullins. A pretty satisfactory workout before the last test?
Yeah, it was pretty good. The conditions didn't suit us much, so the ground's very heavy out here. And it was a bit hard to keep our feet, but we're glad to come away with the win.
You look as though you enjoyed 1 or 2 good runs from broken play today.
Yeah, I got 1 or 2 breaks. I'm happy with that. Looks like I can keep it up come Sunday.
People are talking to you about the star of the tour. How do you feel about that?
I don't think it was Wendell. I think more of the star of the tour. And I just kept in the background and hoping things went my way.
And next Saturday? Sunday?
Sunday, hopefully we'll win, get away with it.
Good luck. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Just 2 matches to go. The Great Britain under-21 international at Gateshead and the 3rd test match. But they've now scored 458 points on the tour against only 94 today. Australia have beaten Bradford Northern 40-0.
A great deal more rugby league after the break.
Welcome back to dank and dark Odsal, where Australia have beaten Bradford Northern by 40 points to 0. Well, let's look back on the action with Martin Afire. The Australians, Martin, was saying that they were fairly pleased, especially in view of the conditions, and they're right to be so, aren't they?
Yes, I think they can't have been too pleased with the first half, but as the game rolled on, I think they took pretty much control of the game.
We talked at the start of the programme about Brett Mullins and how he's been a growing star of the Australian tour, and he showed it again today, didn't he?
Very much so. I think after the first game, Wendell took a lot of the spotlight, but Brett has come on and he played very well today, had an exceptional game. Here we can see him making a terrific break, and his all-round game was pretty sound, and he should be pretty confident about the forthcoming test.
You faced him. It must be an awesome sight to see as he breaks from broken play there, heading towards you.
Oh, very much so. He's quite a quick fellow. Jonathan Davis did manage to skirt around him, in the first test, but he's a fair player anyway.
And we also talked about Rod Wishart at the start of the game. Now, you were saying earlier on that at the start of the tour, you wouldn't have given him much of a chance of appearing in the test, would you?
You'll say after the first game, when Wendell played so well, I think he must have been the 4th choice winger. But as things went, injuries to Michael Hancock and the need for a kicker maybe, and the fact that he kicked so well. He's also scored a few tries. He forced himself into selection, and here he finishes on the end of quite a magnificent backline movement in the corner.
So if you were Bobby Fulton today, how satisfied would you be with the overall performance today?
I think in the end he's pretty satisfied. As I say, the first half, I think it was a few minutes ago, I think they were only 10-0 up, and against the side, which were ability-wise, not in the same ballpark as Australia, he couldn't have been too happy. When you think that at half-time against Wigan, there were 20 points in the lead. So, but I say, at the end of the day, you're not going to play brilliantly every game, are you? And if you can come off the pitch, having won by 40 points and the opponents haven't scored, you can't be too unhappy, can you?
Now, perhaps the one guy in the Australian 13 who wouldn't have been looking to a certain Elland Road place at the start of today was Jason Smith, but he's done himself no harm today, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think he scored 2 tries. Played very well. Australia, great strength and depth. If somebody's not fit or not playing particularly well, they bring somebody else in. He showed a neat bit of skill, not really akin to a second rower. Chipped ahead, gathered, stayed low, and finished in the corner.
Now, are you going to be fit yourself to face the Australians next Sunday?
Well, I came through the game at Sheffield pretty okay. No one likes to pick themselves in the test team. Well, we all meet tomorrow at Headingley, and we'll just take it from there.
And you're going to be optimistic despite the events of Old Trafford?
I think it just puts everything back into the situation it was prior to the game at Wembley. Australia have reaffirmed themselves as undisputed favourites, and we have to go out there and take it off them.
Good luck. We've enjoyed having you with us today. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks so much.
Let's have a look at the match statistics now for you. Australia taking the possession comprehensively, 60% to Bradford Northern's 40%. The handling errors, Australia making 5 more, but of course they had a great deal more of the ball. The scrums taken evenly, 7 to each side. And the line breaks, that really shows the difference. Australia 15 times breaking through the opposition line, nearly 4 times as many as Bradford. Admirable discipline in the penalty count on a day like this, Bradford Northern conceding just 3 and Australia 4. And the tackle counts, Bradford Northern's headed by Roy Powell, followed by Clegg and McDermott. Glenn Lazarus leading the way for Australia with 34, followed by Bradley Clyde and Jason Smith. Well, now let's get some reaction. Here's John with Bradley Clyde, first of all.
Bradley, Bradford is second in the championship over here. Are you surprised at the ease with which you've beaten the top sides?
Well, especially in the first half, we sort of laid a pretty good foundation with, considering the conditions. We're not really used to the wet conditions, and I thought we applied ourselves very well today, especially, leading up to the third test. Pressure's on for spots, and I don't really find it surprising, no.
Yeah, it's not often I score a try, but 2-1 game's pretty good, I've hardly done that. I don't think I've done it in the last 5 years, so I was pretty happy with it.
Probably the hardest game of my life.
Was it? But you had a good one.
Yeah, I've had a long layoff, and this will be third full game, I think, something like that.
To get man of the match against the Australians must mean something for you.
Yeah, it was a bit special, but all you can do is go out and play your heart out. It's supposed to be the best in the world.
Were you disappointed not to score when you had that long run?
Well, I looked at it and I said, oh God, I'm in a gap. I knew I wouldn't go the full distance because I'm getting old now, you see, so I was waiting for Newey or something like that to come along, but they never quite got there.
First 20 minutes, just couldn't catch him breath at all. It was really, so quick. I never been used to anything as fast. And then as it got on in the first half, it seemed to get into it a bit. At the end of the game, my legs were just like jelly now.
Do you think losing that first test match made you even more determined?
Oh no, I would have preferred to win the first and second and be going into the third without having to worry about anything, but I mean, Great Britain played really well on that day, and they did everything they had to with a man down, and I said after that game we were beaten by a better side on the day, but the fact is that we've bounced back from them. We've won the second and we've won the club games convincingly, so we can't do any more than we're doing. I think if we were complacent, we were a chance of getting beaten out here today, because they're a good side and they're atrocious conditions.
Conditions not much better around the country, in fact. Here's a full check on the results from the